ASMR. Today I'm feeling the need to talk about some really strong women and strong superheroes. So if you need to relax, I know I do, plug in, tune out, and watch as we build our superheroes. Now, I was creating this Wonder Woman because I was really excited for the new movie that's going to be coming out. Wonder Woman has always been one of my favorite superheroes, and I really wanted her to be strongly feminine, but also very strong, so you can see that I'm not skimping on her build or her proportions there, although you will see me make some minor adjustments later on. You can see her face is starting to come in there. When I initially started this sketch, I actually looked at a picture of Gal Gadot to see if I could get it right there. I did do some editing later on because I didn't like the open-mouthed look there. It was fun to look back at previous costumes for Wonder Woman. I shied away from doing excessive cleavage because if you've seen my art before, I tend to exploit the men more than I do the women. I've seen her with curly hair, and I decided to do long straight hair this time with a lot of body, so you can see me building it up there. Here we go. I'm going to play with the facial features a little bit there. I've also liked in the costume recently how the bodice has gotten some ribbing in it and make it feel less like a one-piece bathing suit and more like armor. See, I'm building up the cool boots there. I've seen Wonder Woman fight battles in rather high heels, and I think that's fairly impractical for a superhero. You wouldn't see the men in high heels, so I don't usually do women in high heels. Superheroes, that is. Your costume should be functional, and I think this costume is pretty functional and showy where it needs to be, and not so much in other places. As you can see, I'm building the rib of the torso. It's fun. My dad and I used to watch Wonder Woman on TV when I was a kid. I just loved how fabulous she was, and my dad was keen on her other attributes, so we both really connected over that TV show for entirely different reasons. Here I am, I'm going through the inking process, as you can see there. I really love inking and creating that one solid line. When you're building a piece, the sketching, you can be a little vague and you can fudge circles, but when you're inking, you have to be very precise. So I really enjoy doing that. It's funny, I showed this picture to my mother, and she thought that Wonder Woman's arms were too masculine, but if you're as strong as Princess Diana, why not have the guns to prove it? I'm not a very big fan of the exploitation of women in comics, unless there is a tongue-in-cheek aspect to it. I'm working on a comic book right now where I flip that genre on its head, where there is that sexiness, but it's apparent, and it's not the woman, because if you've seen my work, you see where my bends lie. I thought that if you were going to be blocking bullets with your bracelets, it'd be better to have bigger bracelets, just in case, one gets by you. adjusting the bosom a little bit there. I'm tempted at some point to take these line drawings and remove all the color and then just sell them as a coloring book that people can color in their own versions. You always see Wonder Woman in the red, white, and blue. I see on her boots, I actually took out the piping. Every once in a while I pop it a lower level so I can make sure I have everything right. And I'll put that in when I color it because it doesn't need a black line variation. I also usually won't do a hard black line on anything that is black, for example, hair, because it won't matter. I made her skin a little darker because I figured that she would be from the Mediterranean and in the sun a lot, so she would probably be more tan. Unlike with Gal Gadot, that they have made her more exotic and with a bit of an accent, because we are a country of foreigners and not everybody is going to speak English perfectly. Even we don't speak English perfectly. I went with harder tones as opposed to a cherry red. I went with a more deeper red and a gold yellow and then a rich dark blue. Just because I think those colors, those styles of the colors from Wonder Woman are a lot more serious and intense. It was fun building up the shield, which has come into play a lot in recent years. Coloring those stars in. I think if anybody should represent America, I think Wonder Woman is a really good example. Foreign born, but embraces the ideals and fights for the little guy. And came up with the golden lariat there. I have a couple of paintbrushes in my bag there that I can use that creates that glowing tone. And then we're going to throw some shade and highlight on her there so we can make it really pop. It's amazing how quickly shadow really creates depth. I'm just trying to figure out where my light source is. I think it's on the upper left right here. So you can see where I'm pulling all of that shadow in. And of course sometimes you have alternate light sources on the person. For example, a glowing gold lariat might provide some light, so you have to take that into account too. If you look around her hand, you can see it's actually shinier there. Filling out the bodice and creating a nice solid shadow. Also, since the bodice is not just spandex, you want to give it the sense of a firmer, maybe ribbed metallic look. And then, of course, creating the shine on the bracelets there, so she looks appropriately golden. And there you have it. That's Wonder Woman. Some final touches on her shield, and oh yeah, I forgot the hard shadow. I really enjoy hard shadow because for the longest time I never took that into consideration. Since I started putting hard shadow in, it's really affected the look of my art and I think made it a lot more in-depth and interesting. You can also use it to create divots and really, really build a creative light. So that's it. That's my hero, and hands down one of my favorite comic book heroines. You can see here the finished drawing all the way from the bottom to the top. And then next we have The Maid of Might. She's really popular right now because of the TV show. I'm glad that they moved it to the channel with the boys. I love my CW because I can get all of my favorite DC comic book characters. I know they're not doing as well in the movies, but I think they're really, really doing well in TV. Now, what's fun about the Maiden of Might is this one actually came to me fairly easily. I didn't have to do a lot of redraws on it in the sketch stage. It came pretty naturally. It's interesting to kind of try to ponder when somebody is flying how their cape moves, or their skirt for that matter. I would think that having a skirt while you're flying would be fairly counterproductive, but this is the Maid of Might's outfit, and since it's cute and she is a sunnier and cheerleadier version of Superman, who's known as the Big Boy Scout, guess it's totally fine. Hair is another one to try to contemplate. For example, how hard is the wind blowing, or from what direction is it blowing? I thought it would be fun as well to add crypto in. I grew up with a Labrador, and so drawing this Labrador made me miss my old puppy. I think it's interesting, of all the animals that have popped up in DC Comics as super pets, crypto has really been the mainstay, the one that everybody thinks of when we think of sidekick animals. I wanted crypto to have a very playful look and also natural. I would think that flying would be counterintuitive to a quadruped. So that, feeling of the dog is just as not used to flying. There's adjustments on the skirt there. I think Supergirl is a fun and relatable character to young women, and so I'm glad they're really putting her front and center in the series. I think women are very underrepresented, and I look forward to other artists really trying to bring them forward, and of course women creators putting their own staples on current characters and new characters that they may themselves come up with that will redefine our nation and the women that make it a good place. I think I might have started inking on the wrong layer. I'll do that on occasion. I'll start inking on the sketch layer, and I'll have to go back and fix that and do it again. Not the end of the world, but it does take time, especially if you think you did it right the first time. It's kind of sucks to have to erase your work and then go back and do it again. I found lately, though, no matter how I'm feeling, I always, if I'm sad or bummed or just not doing well, pick up a pen and start drawing something, and I always tend to feel better about it. And then hopefully you listen to my voice and you start feeling relaxed and better too. I've been asked possibly to do a how-to video or some other live drawing lessons, which I'm considering, or just trying to figure out the logistics of that. Now, also, if you have any suggestions or superheroes or supervillains you'd like to see me tackle, even other art subjects, I'm open to suggestions, so leave them in the comments or send me an email. You can also find my art on Tumblr, Tumbled Heroes, and Instagram and Facebook as well, all located under Tumbled Heroes. Just look for the mask that you see as my symbol here on YouTube, and you'll know you found me. And you might might see some art you recognize. So there we go, we're building that hard outline in. I took out the S shield because I'll build that separately and put that on there. She does sort of have the feeling of a cheerleader. I think Superman is a good owner for Crypto because he's probably the only one who could throw the ball far enough. As you see, I pulled in the sketch layer so that way I could build the S and also do some piping on her outfit. It isn't going to be ribbed or have the metallic look like Wonder Woman's does, but I want it to seem a little more sturdy than just plain old spandex. And then the fabulous cape. Just like when you're coloring as a kid, it's good to do an outline and then fill it in. I also like the tangible aesthetic of coloring in as opposed to indicating which area I wanted colored in and then clicking a button. And it makes it feel more like pencil and paper. I do love, though, working on a tablet because I can take all my art with me and I'm not wasting a lot of paper anymore. So that's always been a nice development. I really was built for this technology, so it makes me very happy. We have our little super dog coming in there that we're pulling in the sky. I did it a couple different times just because I wasn't quite getting the feel. A lot of times I will go and find a picture that I like and drop it in, but lately I've been trying to challenge myself to actually build the backgrounds. I recently did one that takes place in a bathroom, so I took a picture of my bathroom and then used that as a basis to try to get the location right. Then we're throwing in all those hard shadows. With comic books that I've been drawing, I've been just doing basic coloring and then hard shadows and not doing a lot of in-depth coloring unless the picture really requires it. Which I think is what I think I did a little highlight on this one, but mostly it's just shadow and color. But I think it works for the sunny disposition of the character to stay fairly bright and, pardon the expression, black and white. I'm enjoying actually drawing women. I find them easier to draw. Oh, and I'm doing some more advanced shading there. So that's why I work a lot on men, because I find them actually harder to draw. And I have to work harder to get the proportions right, where women have a lot more extremes to their build, so they're easy to draw, easier at least for me to draw. Also, since I'm gay, I think because I don't have the initial attraction, I can approach them with a less overly sexual use. So there you go. Feel free to like and comment.